Hey everyone, it's Karen Hurd, and I am with my friend
Donna Martin.
and we are here together to bring you another episode of Leaner for Life. We have a passion to help people get the body that they envision for themselves. We believe very strongly that every single person was created by God with a unique purpose and a unique design. We want to help you live out that design to your fullest. Sorry about the phone. Forgot to do the magic turn off phone thing. Anyway, we want you to be a part of our conversation today. So you'll see in the status box a place to give StreamYard permission, and when you give it permission, we can then have the comments. And just know that there's a little bit of a delay between when we see the comment or your question and when we get to it. So just be aware of that. Remember to give permission. If what we're going to do today is something that blesses you, gives you value, please feel free to share it and to join us. We love working with you. What we're going to talk about today, we're going to talk about, you're basically three parts, right? You're a body, you're a mind and soul, and you're a spirit. So today we're going to work with the body and the spirit and talking about diet overwhelm, which overwhelm and overweight seem to go hand in hand, don't they, Donna?
Yes, they most certainly do. They totally do. And just those feelings of just feeling whether or not you have the motivation, the mindset to even get something going in regards to weight loss can oftentimes just feel like it's just too much for one person.
Yeah.
And, just feeling like you even have the skills and the knowledge to even carry it out sometimes can just stop a lot of people from even wanting to start at all. And
Right.
It's like going to the gym kind of. I remember when we used to work at Gold's Gym, we would have people come in and join the gym, but then once they got in there, they had no idea how to use the equipment and what to do with it. And health and diet is oftentimes the same because there's so many foods out there. We don't know which ones to choose. We have this thing where we have good food, bad food, and we have all these things playing in our head.
Yes.
And those things just so contribute to just an overwhelming picture. And once you see all that in front of you and trying to sort it out, a lot of times we just have this, why bother? I've already been like this for years. I can learn to be happy being overweight.
Oh boy, there we go. That's a whole thing right there. In the last episode, we talked about why, and it's actually in our first episode, why weight loss is a ground floor for your health overall. Being at a healthy weight. We use the word weight loss because it's a search term. We really prefer to think about it as releasing weight or shedding weight or becoming free in your body. But we use weight loss because it's a term we all use, right?
Right.
But I was listening to Mel Robbins. She's the 5-second rule. If you've never heard of Mel Robbins, 5-second rule is awesome. It's how she went from a little trick. She did a mind trick with herself, but it worked crazy to get her out of an alcohol addiction and overwhelmed from some very serious life situations into being back in control, which Donna talked about, that sense of agency. So what we're going to talk about today real quick, 3 things. Why there's the overwhelm. The idea of being able to affect change in your own life. It's also called agency. And we're going to a couple of subtopics in there, and then we're going to talk about ways to overcome it. All right, because you were not designed to live in a state of overwhelm. Mel Robbins had one of the best descriptions of overwhelm because we all know the feeling.
Mm-hmm.
We shut down. We watch TV. We grab something to eat. We decide to go on Facebook, or social media, which sometimes increases the sense of overwhelm. We do an avoidance, right? And she said that the overwhelm is the gap between where you are now and where you want to be. And the size of that gap, if it's really, really big, the bigger the overwhelm.
Mm-hmm.
The smaller gap, you probably aren't going to have overwhelm because you're like, oh, I can do this, right?
Right.
Right. All right. So it's that gap between where you are now and where you want to be. And Donna, you were talking about efficacy and agency. So when you talk about affecting change for yourself, what's that like?
Well, I think it's gaining the skill set that you need in order to carry something out. And health and fitness and losing weight, having those skills and knowing what to do and how to go about doing it. And then when you are up against a challenge with temptation or going out to dinner or just whatever the situation may be, that you have the skill set to kind of talk yourself through certain situations and stuff. So have you ever been there, Karen, where you're at a buffet or you're at a big old party and you're like, I have no idea what to do with this, and I'm on a program?
Right. And I think too, there's also a sense of whether or not I can, a deep agency. My daughter taught me this word, and when she said it, I just went, that's it. Agency is the idea you can affect change for yourself.
Exactly.
And once you hear that definition, all of a sudden you can see where you have a sense of loss of agency. A victim is the extreme, has no agency, zero agency over a situation, right? So somebody who's been victimized by, say, a crime or abuse has almost no agency in that situation. And in order to help themselves, they have to find some agency, right? Does that make sense?
Right.
So now let's apply that to weight. If you feel like, and Donna alluded to this a minute ago, with a sense of failure, sense of why bother, maybe I should just be happy where I am.
I've done this a million times. What's now going to be any different? And
that's loss of agency. That's what it looks like. And so if you don't think that you can, you feel overwhelmed because you're looking for that thing. We talked about this yesterday in the first episode on ground floor weight loss. The idea, where'd my brain go? It went on vacation. It's going to come back right now. It's enjoying the beach on Mexico.
Well, you're talking about loss of agency and just what that feels like with regard to weight loss, like the why bother, because the gap is just so big that you're trying to figure out how you're going to get from one side to the other. And when it seems so large that you just feel like you can't get to that.
And you're looking for that thing that's going to drive you because you can't drive the car yourself.
Right.
Somebody that's going to be on autopilot. And people, that's where we get into literally weight loss pills. I mean, they're still on the market. Fat blockers, fat burners, things that you can eat what you want so you can't absorb your food. You don't even want to know about the health issues with that thing, right? I mean, or even so far as to, and again, there's no judgment in what we're saying.
No, absolutely.
There's no judgment. We just know that this is what people have done in part to overcome the sense of loss of agency.
Right.
And it can get to be quite serious to where the point is you're actually doing bariatric surgery.
Yes.
Which is really, and I know some of you watching may have done that. So again, there's
no judgment.
None. There's none, right? We're all trying to find a way to fix, to get to where we believe we should be.
Well, when we have that loss, we look for the easiest, what seems to be the simplest thing in order to get us there. And
right.
when things get put in front of us, like diet pills and TV commercials that tell us, well, you don't have to even eat right. You could just take this pill. I mean, who's not going to want to go for that, especially when you're 100 pounds overweight,
Right.
But having simple skills and daily habits that would teach you that there's healthier ways of taking smaller steps, that would definitely be a skill set that would give people that locus of control back. That they would.
I love that phrase, locus of control. And it was when you were talking, the phrase that popped into mind is, we'll just pick on diet pills because it's easy.
I'll take that pill out there. Even if they seem natural.
Then you look what's in and be like, well, poison ivy is natural. Just it was dog doo-doo. All right. So anyway, so I'll take the pill because the pill can do for me what I can't do for me. The surgery can do for me, force me to do for me what I can't do for me. The super extreme, I'm only going to eat these 3 foods, will do for me what I can't do for me.
Right. Exactly.
And you know what? There's going to be somebody who says it worked for them. And you know what? It may have been that piece. But for the majority of people, those are short term. They're damaging to the body. They're damaging to the metabolism. It's kind of like trying to use one credit card to pay off the other credit card. All you did was shift and create more debt.
Right.
You solved the problem for the moment. You solved the pressure for the moment, but all you did was shift and create debt. So let's talk. So agency and efficacy. It's a great word too, Donna. When you don't have that, that leads into guilt and condemnation, self-condemnation, which I think is worth an extra 10,000 calories a day myself.
It is. Oh, it is. So what do? You go and you turn to food for comfort, to pacify those feelings. It's very easy to let that happen.
And I think when because if you have an obsession with hand washing, just picking on that for right now because it was the first thing that popped in my head. Unless somebody's actually watching you wash hands, they don't know that you have that.
Right.
You just come across as a clean person. Does that make sense?
Yep.
But when you're 10, 15, 20, 30, 50, 100 or more pounds overweight, your issue, so to speak, is right out there in public.
Yep.
And people love to make fat jokes. People love to body shame. Right?
Right.
Bodies are personal. We're intimate with them. We will body shame. Our parents will body shame. I mean, I remember one time I hadn't seen my grandmother in a while, several months. And I was a young woman. I was a teenager. And my weight would fluctuate, where if I was playing tennis 4 hours a day because I was in the mood, it was summer, all the weight would come off. I'd eat what I want. Who cares? Plus, I'm a teenager. I can eat what I want. And then it would shift into something else going on in my life. And then those same eating habits without the 4 hours of daily tennis, different situation.
Yeah.
So my grandmother had her own issues. So people that shame you are shaming out of their own stuff.
Oh, yeah.
It's the script in their own head, right? Technically, we know that. We go, oh yes, we could pass the test. You know, if somebody give you a quiz, when people try to embarrass me, it's because one, they have issues. Oh yeah, we know that. But when we hear it, when we experience it, we forget that.
It doesn't make it easier.
Yep, we can't deflect it.
It doesn't make it less painless.
And she sees me, and she says, "Oh, it's so good to see you. My God, you're fat." And Grandpa says, "Hey, you want a banana split? I just made some." What are the messages there? Grandma was very, very, very thin.
Oh, yeah.
Almost too thin. Yeah, almost too thin. So she just never, so food wasn't her thing. It was my grandpa's thing. So I was greeted with it's so good to see you. We love you. You're too fat. Do you want a banana split?
Was your grandpa overweight?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then once he retired and he was an entrepreneur, had like 4 or 5 businesses. Once he retired and just started watching he was eating more, it just kind of came off. Wow. So him, it was really just math. For him, it was just math and lifestyle. And I think bypass surgery was an extra encouragement to him.
If and this is kind of off topic, but a lot of times
everything's on topic.
A lot of times when somebody has an eating disorder or an offset image about food or their body, and they're super thin, they will feed other people a lot of food. They'll cook for other people. They'll have like 1 million cookbooks, and they'll displace that disorder onto somebody else. So that's why I was asking if your grandpa.
Yeah, she and what's funny is she didn't cook, but Grandpa did. She was always funny about food. She really was. And we had to eat our bread and butter. Of course, that was Polish, and that was also that generation. You had to eat your bread and butter, right? That was that was the thing. But right. So that's all part of overwhelm.
Oh,
the
yeah.
gap, the
Mhm.
sense of I can't make any change for myself anyway. It's too
Yeah.
hard. It's too hard.
Mhm.
The guilt and self-condemnation that come with the sense of not being able to make a change for yourself. I know I should eat less. I know I shouldn't eat that. Da, 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 da. Right?
Mhm.
So you go online, you go to whatever to try to find that thing that's going to propel you, do for you what you can't do for yourself. That's where we get into a lot of trouble. I'll just try this. You say it's going to work. I mean, and when we get somebody started on a program, I try to get permission from them to kind of go through some of these steps,
Mhm.
because like we talked about in our first episode, weight loss is not always, or weight release or weight shedding is not always just math. It is sometimes
Mhm.
then.
And one thing that we didn't talk about before, Karen, but I am going to bring up now, and that's especially with the virus, is a lot of people now are more shut in than ever, and so there's a
Yeah.
loneliness factor.
Oh,
If
boy.
you're alone, and a lot of times you might even loneliness can make you feel like you don't have that efficacy.
Oh boy, you're right. You're right. That's such a good point, especially this time. The sense of isolation takes away a sense of self.
Mm-hmm.
And
A
we
lot
do a
of
lot
times
through
too.
video. You and I work online. We do a lot that way, and there's good
Yeah,
connection. I mean, we pray
right.
together. We do a lot of things, but it's still not the same as being physically in each other's presence.
Well, and a lot of times too, when you're by yourself, a lot of times you will have food delivery
Oh yeah,
because you
especially
don't
now.
have to bother preparing food or going shopping for yourself, especially now. And so that's a big factor. And or if you're elderly, a lot of times too, just the idea that you don't want to bother, why bother cooking for just one person? It makes it,
Or even two. Even if there's two of you,
yes,
right? How many folks that have lived by themselves, especially if they've had a family now, they're what we call empty nesters,
yeah,
or they've never had a family besides each other.
mm-hmm,
They go out to eat a
all
lot,
the time. Mm-hmm.
a lot. It's a huge piece of the budget, right? So,
Right.
overcoming overwhelm, winning against overwhelm. No, first and foremost, you were created to be a conqueror.
Yep.
And especially for those of you who are Christians, the Bible says we are more than conquerors
Yes.
because of Christ, of Jesus Christ.
Yes.
So you are not created to live in a sense of overwhelm, to give up or to give into it, but to work through it.
Yep.
And you absolutely can. You can be victorious. I think the first thing to do is to agree that you can win. If you don't agree that you can win, we're done. And
Yeah.
that's a step, right? That's a step to learning to agree that you can win, to build that faith in yourself, to build that faith that God loves you enough that He wants you to win,
Right.
and then to learn how to shut out the voices, even the people in your life sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
trying to keep you where you currently are.
Yep. Absolutely.
Right?
Yep.
One of the ways to do that, Donna you mentioned it earlier. You talked about skills and steps. How do skills and steps help us overcome overwhelm? How do we conquer overwhelm with skills and steps?
Because when you learn certain skills and you learn daily habits, then when you focus on those daily habits, then everything else kind of falls into place. It's like when you're learning how to drive a car. You don't just jump in the car and then run to the DMV and go get your license. First, you learn where the brakes are and the gas is and the turn signals, and then you get all of those skill sets, and then you progress little by little. And so, when you are learning a skill set, it could be as easy as going for a 15-minute walk, or eating breakfast every day, making that a habit. The small steps that you make turn out to summarize into a bigger picture. And if you can let go of this overwhelming picture of having to lose this extreme amount of weight, or even if it's 10 pounds, looking at what you need to do versus what's not happening, And closing that gap is really a huge solution to a lot of people's problems when it comes to their health and weight loss. A lot of times you learn that people skip meals, or they're not eating enough, or they're not exercising. So when we can learn those small skill steps sets, it helps bring you closer into closing that gap and bringing in self-efficacy.
That's right. And I think what which is why we talk about, and what we do in the Leaner for Life program is that's why we celebrate the wins. That's what we celebrate wins.
Yes. Celebrating what you've done right. And even when you do have a little setback, not beating yourself up, not having guilt and condemnation. Let's say you embark on a fitness and health journey, and you go have a banana split, and then you come back and you feel horrible. The idea of picking yourself up and starting again the next day, that every day is new and fresh, and to not condemn yourself for what happened yesterday, but looking at the here and now, and what are you going to do? And looking at food as a healthy concept, because we have this good food, bad food separation, instead of everything is good in moderation.
Right. And I think we need to do a whole episode just on good food, bad food.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. And we talk a lot about this. And so we also have one of the ways that we work with people is we've just talked about the soul and spirit part, and that's your mind and your wills, your emotions, and that you are a conqueror. We're going to talk about the body part for just a second. It is true, if you are getting adequate nutrition, if you're getting the right things for your body, how it impacts your brain and emotions, it's there. Sometimes it is biochemistry. Sometimes it's the right amount of protein. It's the right amount of essential minerals. It's the right amount of fatty acids, the right kind of fatty acids. It's the gut balance is a huge impact on how you process information, how you process emotions. We all know people, maybe you're one of them, gets a little cranky when the blood sugar's not right. So that's just a real obvious connection between what's in your body and what comes out in terms of emotions. And that's why we recommend the programs that we do. We have a couple of them, depending on your goals, your budget. We have an assessment that's phenomenal. It's patented to help tell you exactly what you need to be doing in terms of supplements. We work with the diet because they all go together. That's the other thing, is I think part of overwhelm is just the amount of information out there. And where do I start first? And I don't want to make a mistake and start with C, and I should have started with A, and I'm doing step G, and I didn't even get to step D today. So when we work through this program, it covers all the bases.
Yes.
We're building the gut health, which is key to how your body functions and how your brain and your emotions function. We're building immunity. There's a connection between healthy weight and immunity. We're building brain health. There's a connection between gut and brain, weight and brain, all that kind of stuff. We're building brain health. We're building muscle. Muscle is metabolism. They both begin with M, easy to remember. You don't need to know about all the complicated things with metabolism. Muscle is metabolism. More muscle, more metabolism. The end.
Yep.
And that's why we recommend what we do, because it has been proven through not only 1 million people, but through I think 1 million people, but quite a few. We've helped people lose over 1 million inches.
Yes.
1 million inches and 1 million pounds or something like that. Tens and tens of thousands of people releasing the weight and then not letting it back into their lives and feeling good about it, having that sense of agency, that sense of control, that sense of I'm doing the right thing. And then the benefits. The benefits of weight loss, the benefits of being a fit and physically well person. So whether you've got 5 pounds or 500 pounds, everybody's in that spectrum somewhere. We want to encourage you to join us in the Leaner for Life program. We're meeting on Monday nights We do have a program that we take you through. We have some products that we recommend that have worked in our lives and have really been safe, clean. Some of the topics we're going to be talking about are clean eating made easy. Metabolism strong, the carbohydrate controversy, the whole point about hunger cues. When am I really hungry? When is my heart hungry? Those are different.
Yep.
How to feed your heart so you're not necessarily feeding your body, and when to feed your body so that your heart's satisfied.
Right. Or even knowing the difference between needing nutrition and needing a nap. There's a huge.
There you go.
I'm not kidding. Because sometimes, have you ever been so tired you feel like, oh, I need to eat something, when in fact you just need a 20-minute nap or a glass of water.
There you go. That's right. There you go. So it's going to be. It really is. We love doing this.
Yeah.
We've helped a lot of people. We want to expand that reach. We want you to be in the body you were created for, living out.
Happy.
And what, Donna?
Happy.
And happy. Oh, yes. Yes. And not feeling like, and I think that's a whole nother thing that I think I know I've struggled with. If I get to we're going to do this in another episode. Yeah. If I get to my ideal weight, will I now have to forever live in some constrained and constricted life in order to stay there? The answer is no. If you follow our Leaner for Life program, the answer is no. You can enjoy life and even go on a cruise in the cruise buffet when they bring those back. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. It's always, always, always a delight to be with you. In the show notes, we've put, and Donna will put the link to her site in her comment notes. We have for you, we want you to reach out to us. Ask us any question. We're not here to put somebody into a chute, CHUTE. We're not here to corral you into something you don't want to do. Mm-hmm. We're here we offer free consultations. This may not be a good fit for you, but it just might be exactly what you're looking for. You might not be ready for the whole thing. You might be ready for a part. We welcome you. And we've also got a free ebook for you, The 7 Secrets to Weight Loss. And in that book, you're going to learn a lot about how your body functions when you've gained some extra pounds, and some really excellent, excellent tips on how to shed that weight and release it and never get it back again. So that'll be there for you. Reach out to us. It's been a pleasure, and we will see you next time on Leaner for Life.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye now.
Have a good day. Bye-bye.